What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. I know it has been a little bit since I made a video. We're at a barren time in the offseason, of course, where there's just not too much going on. You know, we have OTAs and light practicing going on, but it's going to be pretty quiet from here on out until training camp. But the Chiefs did make a move yesterday when they re-signed, I should say, wide receiver Mecole Hardman to a one-year deal, and I wanted to make a quick video talking about this. Now, I don't want to overanalyze this signing because this really is just a bottom of the depth chart type of signing to push the other guys on the team and to just give yourself some familiarity within the wide receiver room and give yourself some insurance. But I'm going to heave what I just said for this video about not overanalyzing the re-signing of Mecole Hardman. Because re-signing Mecole Hardman does irk me just a little bit. It's just, it continues an annoying trend that has stuck with this team ever since I've been following them, and it's kind of that favoritism, the obsession with players that are beyond their expiration date, the lack of effort to upgrade from what you already had. Re-signing Mecole Hardman, it's just underwhelming to me. It's the same way that re-signing Clyde Edwards-Helaire was. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the RB2 for this team right now. And I just, I've given my thoughts on that and how I just think CEH is quite honestly a detriment to the running back room, at least as a running back too, because you're an injury away from him being your starter, and that's just not a comfortable position for me. And with Mecole Hardman, there's a lot more depth in the wide receiver room, obviously. And the first thing that people are going to say, they're going to go down in the comments, they're going to be like, dude, what? You're complaining about our wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6. Like, what's the big deal? But here's my big deal and why re-signing Mecole Hardman irks me a little bit. Yeah, Mecole Hardman probably, ideally, is your wide receiver 5 or 6. And if he is, fine, I guess. I just wish there was a little bit more of an effort to bring in new blood instead of leaning on the same guys, the same failed draft picks, failed Brett Veach acquisitions over and over again in CEH and Mecole Hardman. CEH is slated to have actually a pretty big role next year. I don't like that. Mecole Hardman isn't really slated to have a big role or anything, but here's what I'll say about it and why, again, it just irks me so much is because last year, when the Chiefs traded for Mecole Hardman at the NFL trade deadline, he came here to be the wide receiver 5 or 6. And yet somehow, even as a wide receiver 5 or 6, he managed to stick out like a sore thumb. And so many times, the idea has been suggested that Mecole Hardman is some insignificant depth receiver, only for him to have the ball or somehow find himself with the ball in the biggest moments. I mean, last year, Mecole Hardman muffed a punt inside the 15 against the Denver Broncos to single-handedly end the Kansas City Chiefs' 16-game win streak over the Denver Broncos. He almost fumbled away the Buffalo Bills playoff game on a gimme touchdown. He also quit on his routes multiple times on very catchable passes from Patrick Mahomes against the Miami Dolphins in the wild card game. This guy somehow managed to be a net negative last year on what was already the worst wide receiver core in the NFL. And I get it, Mecole Hardman had the game-winning touchdown catch in the Super Bowl, and that was a great thing for him. It was a great thing for us because we won the Super Bowl. But that pass that he caught in the Super Bowl seems to have erased everything from everybody's memories on just how bad he was throughout the season and throughout his time as a Chief the past couple of years. And then he went on that podcast shortly after the Super Bowl bashing the Jets and talking about how they don't know how to win, and then he comes over to Kansas City and it's a winning culture and all this stuff, and it's like, hey, look, I get it. The Jets probably do warrant some criticism. I mean, that organization has been a mess for many, many years, but it's not like Mecole Hardman came over to Kansas City from the New York Jets and lit the world on fire. He only had 15 catches for 124 yards on 24 targets, and again, just like, it's the fumbles, the muffed punts, the fair catching inside the 5 or 10 yard line. And that's another thing, too. It's like Mecole Hardman's going to come here and he's probably going to return punts again. And I thought Mecole Hardman was a horrendous punt returner for a long time now. It's the not being on the same page with Patrick Mahomes and quitting on his routes. Like, I just don't understand this signing. It just feels like Brett Veach yet again trying to squeeze as much juice as he can out of a former draft pick. And then what's just as frustrating is the fact that, you know, I'm going to continue pointing this out because it's another thing that really bothers me. And I know I sound really petty right now and I sound entitled talking about this, but look, guys, it's the middle of June. There's not much else to talk about. This bothers me. Why the heck not? But the Kansas City Chiefs traded L'Jarius Sneed back in March. And after that trade, they opened up $20 million in cap space. And everyone's like, oh, man, we get to use this cap space now for, you know, little signings and veteran free agents and stuff like that. You want to know what 2 veteran free agents the Kansas City Chiefs have signed after that L'Jarius Sneed trade? CEH and Mecole Hardman. That's it. That's all they've done. Like, there was that report, you know, before he signed with the Arizona Cardinals that Zay Jones was visiting the Kansas City Chiefs. You compare Zay Jones side by side with Mecole Hardman, Zay Jones has been the much better player for the last 2 years. He's someone that realistically could have came in here and he could have been your wide receiver 4. And I think, and another reason why the signing bothers me so much too, is a lot of us agreed that the Chiefs needed to sign another veteran wide receiver because there's that looming Rashee Rice suspension. Zay Jones is someone that could have helped even with Rashee Rice in or out of the lineup. Mecole Hardman just doesn't really do anything for you. He doesn't raise the floor at all. You had him on this team last year. He didn't do anything. He doesn't raise the ceiling at all. I mean, we've seen enough of Mecole Hardman. I've seen this song and dance for the last 5 years now. Mecole Hardman just isn't it. And so why not more aggression? Why not more effort to go out and find actual upgrades of veteran free agents that were available? There's not really much available anymore, but there was a time where there were guys available after the L'Jarius Sneed trade, and they opened up all that cap space, and they just kind of decided to do nothing with it, which tells me that L'Jarius Sneed trade was a cash-saving move for Clark Hunt and the organization because they would have owed L'Jarius Sneed quite a bit of money for that 1 year. And some people have suggested that the Chiefs are going to roll that money over for next year because you have Nick Bolton and Creed Humphrey extensions coming up and all that stuff. But signing guys to a 1-year deal does not keep you from signing Nick Bolton or Creed Humphrey to an extension, like, at all. So I guess the point I'm making is I just wish there was a little bit more effort to bring in new blood to this organization and to, you know, these position groups that desperately need new blood. And obviously the Chiefs have made moves at wide receiver, and this is not about the top of the depth chart. This is more about the bottom half of the depth chart. And so it's rather insignificant. I just wish the Chiefs went in another direction besides Mecole Hardman, because I just don't feel like Mecole Hardman raises the floor at all, and I wish the Chiefs did a little bit more to raise the floor, especially with a Rashee Rice suspension looming. So, yeah, that's my rant. That's my middle of June rant, because there's nothing else to talk about in Chiefs Kingdom right now. But, yeah, I want to know what you guys think of the Kansas City Chiefs re-signing Mecole Hardman. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you agree with me, disagree with me? Would like to hear from y'all. And with all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com for more. I'll see you all in the next one. Go Chiefs!